Every summer, the training camp hype takes over, but finding what actually matters for your Dynasty roster is extremely hard. So today, we're going to be cutting through the noise and giving you 5 players to buy right now based on real camp reports, film, and statistical analysis, starting with Jacory Croskey-Merritt. He's a 5'11", 208-pound running back for the Washington Commanders, and he went in the 7th round, which is why he's a very, very low dart throw. On Keep Trade Cut, he's ranked as the RB77. In our rookie rankings, he was the RB16, and we actually had him as a early 4th round pick, 41st overall in Superflex leagues, when a lot of people didn't even have him as a draftable player. So that kind of speaks to how we feel about him as a prospect. And when I watched the film on Merritt, he just shows really good speed, fantastic speed, great athleticism, and plus physicality as well, even though he's not a super, super big back. He's also an above average pass catcher, so he offers upside for PPR leagues, which I think is very important, and also something that Brian Robinson is not good at. So I think he will have a role pretty much no matter what in year one. It's just how big of a role can he get on the ground. Not only that, but he also has very good elusiveness and strong contact balance. So there's really not a lot to nitpick about Croskey-Merritt. Obviously, he doesn't have a ton of elite traits. He also wasn't able to play his last year at Arizona due to he played in one game and there was a whole confusion with him transferring, and he basically had to sit out a whole year, which really hurt his draft stock as well. But he's a sleeper that you should definitely be paying attention to, and I would be buying right now for a 4th round pick if you can get him, even really any 3rd rounder, because he's in a high-powered offense with a mid RB1 in front of him. Brian Robinson is nothing good. He is pretty much the definition of a jag. He had 4.3 yards per carry last year, 4.1 yards per carry the year before. Brian Robinson is just nothing special. I think he's a very replacement level running back. And more importantly, the report about Croskey-Merritt is, according to multiple reports, Jacory Croskey-Merritt got first team reps today and looks solid. This is from Sleeper Washington on Twitter. And just overall, the pulse that I'm getting on Croskey-Merritt is very positive throughout Commanders training camp. So I'm definitely buying him at cost considering how cheap he is. Now, the second guy on this list is Jaydon Blue from the Cowboys, 5'9", 196 pounds. So he may not have the size to be a legitimate 3-down back. And that's okay because he was a 5th round draft pick. He was never the guy at Texas. And on Keep Trade Cut, he's going as the RB44. Here at FTR, he is the RB28 for me. So that's a big discrepancy, and that's one absolutely worth buying for really if you think you're slightly overpaying for Blue, you're probably not by the time the season actually starts and his value starts to rise. Blue is an excellent receiver. He is not Croskey-Merritt level where he's good. No, he is very, very good. He's already put on a few incredible catches at camp. Had one that was pretty much the catch of the day at the running back position for Cowboys camp. And also, he's just very fast and has home run speed. Some of these guys have good speed, plus speed. Jaydon Blue has elite home run speed, can finish an 80-yard run. He hits the hole well and finishes runs with burst. Now, he's not the most polished all-around back, especially as a pass catcher. That's kind of what held him back at Texas. But similar to Croskey-Merritt, he's on a high-powered Cowboys offense. They have Dak back, CD. You're bringing in George Pickens. The Cowboys have consistently been a good offense in the regular season, and now they're arguably even better than they were before with Pickens in town. Javonte Williams has simply just not been good. Had 3.7 yards per carry, 3.6 yards per carry. There's a chance that he bounces back, and at cost, I don't hate the dart throw on him because they're both very cheap, but the most likely range of outcomes or case scenario is Williams still gets a bit of work. They sign him. Blue probably can't, handle 80% of the snaps in a game, but I think Blue is going to get the important touches, meaning the 3rd down work. The touches not just between the 20s, where he's actually getting goal line work, he's getting these big plays, and there's been multiple reports about Jaydon Blue in Cowboys camp. First off, Blue has been getting some carries with the first team offense too, per Tommy Yerish, And Cowboys running back Jaydon Blue said the pre-camp lazy criticism added fuel to the fire. It was apparently well placed as he's begun to emerge as a weapon in a crowded running back competition. When the ball is in his hands, exciting things happen, per Nick Harris, FWST. And the Blue, him being lazy criticism was actually a lot of news before training camp started, but after looking into that bit more, it seemed like that was not a very reliable source, and everything else that has come out within training camp, all the beat reporters, has been very, very positive about Jaydon Blue. Now, my favorite player on this entire list is going to be Anthony Richardson. I think we all know Anthony Richardson at this point. Not a rookie, 6'4", 244 pounds, the 4th overall draft pick. And I do have him only slightly higher than Keep Trade Cut at QB 27 versus the consensus QB 29. That's mainly just because I do value strong QB2 stability in Superflex leagues, but I like him a lot more than the running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends in that range. I just love my quarterbacks in a Superflex format. But with Richardson, I am dangerously excited about him. I am dangerously in on him, especially in redraft leagues. If you're looking for points this year, Richardson is your guy. He is so cheap, and I think at the very least, he's going to have a Justin Fields Bears type season where he may not be a good real-life quarterback, but he's going to be good enough to where Daniel Jones is not good. Jones should not be starting over him, and he's not been getting good buzz in training camp either. And at the very least, he's going to put up great rushing stats. They might replace him, but at the very least, again, I think he's going to be good for this year. However, there's been exciting clips. There's been we've seen progress of him layering throws, throwing with touch, throwing with accuracy that we weren't seeing last year. I mean, with Richardson, it's just about the upside, and you play fantasy football to come in first place. You don't play to come in 5th or 6th or 7th. And Richardson has a top 5 arm in the NFL on film. The throws he can make are unreal. His physicality and running style are Cam Newton-esque. When I turn on the film and watch Richardson run, I was like, wow, this kid could be a stud. There are flashes when he throws with elite touch and accuracy, especially on his deep ball. It's just not consistent at all. His, obviously, passing percentage was very low, and it has historically been low. But when he's on, man, it is fun to watch. He has first-round startup pick upside. We've seen him come basically close to that range as a rookie already. He had 18.2 points per game in just 4 games as a rookie. Keep in mind, he was injured he ended the year on that last game, and he was banged up in a few of those games as well. Now, here's a report from Noah Compton about Anthony Richardson, but just the clips that you're seeing around camp, just the positive reports everywhere are more telling than any specific language used. But Noah says, this is what I meant by Anthony Richardson dropped 1 into the bucket to Will Mallory. He's stacking days while still throwing dimes like this. Dangerously promising. It's been a lot of good news, good uptick from Anthony Richardson. Now, the 4th player on this list is another running back, and we have Tank Bigsby, 5'11", 215 pounds, former 3rd-round draft pick, so he was on day 2, which gives these running backs an increased hit rate, which is very important. Keep trade cut rank RB39, FTR rank RB34, and he's not a huge buy for me because this Jaguars offense is just so tough to figure out, but I would buy Tank Bigsby slightly based on the reports that we're seeing right now. As a prospect coming out of Auburn and what we saw in his first few years in the NFL, he shows elite physicality, runs defenders over, as shown by the name Tank Bigsby. He wouldn't get that just by being a guy that has home run speed, but he reads blocks well, makes quick cuts, has plus burst, not necessarily the fastest guy, but he's not slow either, as the name Tank may suggest. Travis Etienne has just been really bad. He's gotten worse every year. He's really only been a fantasy stud based on his touchdown volume, and that's obviously not consistent year to year. Travis Etienne has never really been that guy that we thought coming out of Clemson. His pass catching ability has never been elite. He's never had elite burst in the past 2 years. I will say as a rookie, he looked really good as a runner, But ever since then, he's kind of just taken steps down. Baseball Tuden has a lot of upside, but he struggled with fumbles in college. And that is something where you may think, oh, that's easily correctable. Think about Antonio Gibson. And fumbling the ball is the number one way to get sat on the bench in the NFL, even if it's not a massive deal for fantasy. I promise you, these NFL coaches do not play about that. We saw Antonio Gibson basically lose all of his dynasty value off of that one issue. We saw Ramondre Stevenson go through the same thing last year. It is very, very important. So I'm not really super confident in Tuten. And Liam Cohen also is the new Jags head coach, obviously. Turned the Bucs into an elite running team last year when they had really never been prior to that. With Bucky Irving's obviously great, but he was a 5th-round pick. Rachaad White was probably not as good as the Bucs made him look. But the very important tweet from here is 32 beat writers aggregated this from John Shipley, who covers the Jags. And the quote was essentially, Bigsby once again looked like the focal point running back, though Etienne got extended run in a 2-minute drill. Etienne was active as a pass catcher out of the backfield, while Baseball Tuden looked like the clear number 3. Again, it's early, but that is what Sunday showed. So, obviously, Tuden's going to start behind these guys as a rookie, but kind of the vibe we're getting is Tank is going to be that guy. Etienne, we're leaning more away from him. We kind of just want him to be in a 3rd down exclusive role. So I'm leaning more towards Bigsby is going to get a majority of the touches with goal line work. And the Jaguars, if they can be a really good offense with Liam Cohen at the helm, Trevor Lawrence takes a step, Travis Hunter stepping in, that could be valuable. I don't think it's going to be RB1 valuable, right? Like, I don't think, Tank Bigsby has a crazy ceiling, but I think he could definitely be an RB2 in Dynasty, and he's being priced as a high-end RB4 right now. So, slight buy in my opinion. Now, the 5th guy we have is yet another running back, the 4th running back on this list, Cam Skattebo. Also 5'11", 215 pounds, 4th-round draft pick, but he was the 3rd pick in the 4th round, so essentially really close to being a day 2 pick, and especially with how stacked this running back class was, I view him as a day 2 level prospect. Keep trade cut rank RB23. We have him RB22, so slightly higher on Skattebo. I think he's going to rise even higher than this, though, when looking at my rankings, but just based on how his prospect profile looked coming out of Arizona State, I mean, he makes defenders miss through running over them and quick cuts. The bottom line is, even though he's a bigger back, he can make defenders miss in a multitude of ways. He's also a fantastic receiver, has a diverse route tree, so he's not just soft hands, checkdowns in the backfield. No, he can actually run a legitimate route tree, and he also has elite contact balance. This is probably the best part of his game. He does not go down. He is a bully. He runs defenders over, and just typically feel like running backs that have that mindset, whenever I watch them on film, a lot of them tend to succeed. So I love to see that trait out of Skattebo. Now, in terms for how he could find a path to fantasy success, Tyrone Tracy, again, we're talking about fumbles. He struggled with fumbles last year because he is a converted receiver, and he profiles as a satellite back as such. He was drafted as a 5th-round pick, so I don't think the Giants ever thought he was going to be the lead guy. Skattebo has the makings of a bell cow or 3-down back, way more than Tracy, and he was also drafted higher than Tracy by a pretty significant amount, was also drafted more recently than Tracy. So I think Tracy's just going to be a satellite guy. Think of your Jerick McKinnon, where he's more valuable to an NFL team than fantasy. Maybe he'll have if the Giants can ever be on the Chiefs type level, maybe he could have fantasy value that way, but I think Tracy's due for a pretty steep fall off. Now, Skattebo, he has a pretty clear path to the RB1 job with high 4th-round draft capital, like I just said. And the important quote or tweet from Skattebo is, Cam Skattebo took reps for the first-team offense for the first time on Monday per Underdog NFL. That's really big news for Skattebo because obviously as a rookie, the faster he can get first-team reps, the better his chances are to being on the first team sooner in the year. So I think that really just is telling in the fact that Tracy is not holding on to that, clear RB1 role where Skattebo is the clear 2, Tracy's the clear 1. at least for even like the first week at camp, I think the Giants are very open to having Skattebo be on Tracy's level from day one, which puts Skattebo in a position to take over. Now, that's going to be the 5 players that you should buy in Dynasty Fantasy Football. If you did enjoy this content, be sure to like, comment, subscribe for more Dynasty content. We are going to bring it to you constantly throughout the offseason. But again, appreciate you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.